This is African American History is American History. During the Civil War, as free and enslaved African American men joined up to fight, free and enslaved African American women also participated in the Union war effort by working as laundresses, cooks, and matrons. One aspect of life for the African American soldier during that period that is hardly ever discussed is the toll the war took on their families, who desperately waited for word of their safety and return. Hannah Johnson, the mother of a free black soldier from the North, wrote to President Lincoln requesting fair treatment for African American soldiers.
Excellent, sir. My good friend says I must write to you and she will send it. My son went in the 54th Regiment. I'm a colored woman, and my son was strong and able as any to fight for his country, and the colored people have as much to fight for as any. My father was a slave and escaped from Louisiana before I was born more than 40 years ago. I have a poor education, but I never went to school. But I know just as well as any what is right between man and man. Now I know it is right that a colored man should go and fight for his country, and so ought to a white man. I know that a colored man ought to run no greater risks than a white. His pay is no greater. His obligation to fight is the same. So why should not our enemies be compelled to treat him the same? Made to do it. My son fought at Fort Wagner, but thank God he was not taken prisoner as many were. I thought of this thing before I let my boy go, but then they said Mr. Lincoln will never let them sell our colored soldiers for slaves. If they do, he will get them back quick. He will retaliate and stop it. Now, Mr. Lincoln, don't you think you ought to stop this thing and make them do the same by the colored men? They have lived in idleness all their lives on stolen labor and made savages of the colored people. But they now are so furious because they are proving themselves to be men, such as have come away and got some education. It must not be so. You must put the rebels to work in state prisons to making shoes and things if they sell our colored soldiers, till they let them all go, and give their wounded the same treatment. It would seem cruel, but there's no other way. And a just man must do hard things sometimes that show him to be a great man. They tell me some do, you will take back the proclamation. Don't do it. When you are dead and in heaven, in 1,000 years, that action of yours will make the angels sing your praises. I know it. Ought one man to own another lawful or not? Who made the law? Surely the poor slave did not. So it is wicked and a horrible outrage. There is no sense in it. Because a man has lived by robbing all his life and his father before him, should he complain because the stolen things found on him are taken? Robbing the colored people of their labor is but a small part of the robbery. Their souls are almost taken. They are made brutes of often. You know all about this. Will you see that the colored men fighting now are fairly treated? You ought to do this, and do it at once. Not let the thing run along. Meet it quickly and manfully, and stop this mean, cowardly cruelty. We poor oppressed ones appeal to you and ask fair play. Yours for Christ's sake, Hannah Johnson, July 31, 1863.
This has been African American History is American History. African American History is American History. Copyright H.C. Kearsley, 2025.